Welcome back to my inner sanctum. I am your hostess, Countess Elizabeth, mistress of the macabre. Have you ever felt like you're being watched? It's a sense humans have developed to pick up on whether they're being stalked by a predator. When a human gets this feeling, it is really because, even for a moment, they realize they might become prey. On today's tale, my fiends, we will look into the ultimate predator humans have ever faced, the tiger. Tiger attacks are an extreme form of human-wildlife conflict, and out of all of the big cats, tigers are the deadliest, killing more people than any other big cat species. So, let us tread carefully through the jungle and visit the beast's lair so we can explore our grotesque curiosity. As said earlier, tigers are the most deadly big cats in relation to human deaths. Between the year 1800 and 2009, the most comprehensive study of deaths due to tiger attacks estimates that at least 300,073 people became prey for the felines. This averages out to 1,800 kills per year around the world, the majority of these attacks occurring in South and Southeast Asia. There are various reasons why a tiger would attack someone. If a human comes too close and surprises a sleeping tiger, a feeding tiger, or a tigress with her cubs, the tiger will attack and injure or kill a human. Tigers also attack humans in case of mistaken identity for prey. For example, if a human is crouching while collecting firewood or cutting grass, and sometimes when a tourist gets too close. Some also recommend not riding a bicycle or running in a region where tigers live in order not to provoke their chase. Hunter Peter Byrne wrote about an Indian postman who was working on foot for many years without any problems with resident tigers, but was chased by a tiger soon after he started riding a bicycle for his work, which kind of sucks since you think a bicycle would be an upgrade from walking everywhere, but nope, it's dangerous in parts of South Asia, especially in India. While on average, in India, there are approximately 85 or fewer people killed and injured by tigers each year. This number has seen sharper increases, as was the case in 2014 and 2015, due to the urban expansion into the tiger's natural habitat. Wild tiger attacks are only on the rise because of the ever-encroaching humans into their territory. However, many human fatalities and injuries outside of Asia are due more commonly to incidents at zoos, or with people who keep tigers as exotic pets. These wild tigers actually don't go after humans normally, but in some cases, tigers will change their natural diet to become man-eaters. This is usually due to the tiger being incapacitated by a gunshot wound, porcupine quills, or some other factors such as a health issue or disability. In some cases, the animal's inability to hunt traditional prey forces it to stalk humans, which are less appetizing and much easier to chase, overpower, and kill. The tiger known for killing the most people in recorded history is the Champawat tiger. The Champawat tiger was a Bengal tigress, responsible for an estimated 436 deaths in Nepal and the Countess area of India during the last years of the 19th century and the first years of the 20th century. Her attacks have been listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the highest number of fatalities from a tiger. According to Peter Byrne, professional hunter and author from Nepal, the tiger began her attacks in Rupal village in western Nepal Himalayas. Hunters were sent in to kill the tiger, but she managed to evade them. Eventually, the Nepalese army were called in. Despite failing to capture or kill the tiger, soldiers organized a massive beat, or patrol, and managed to force the tiger to abandon her territory and drive her across the border of the river Sarda into India, where she continued her killing activities in the Countess district. The tiger would adjust her hunting strategy so as to best hunt and evade humans, traveling great distances between villages, as much as 32 kilometers in a day, in her new territory, both to claim new victims and to evade pursuers. Her behavior became more like a Siberian tiger in her habits, and creating a larger territory to encompass multiple villages in the Countess area, with Champawat being closer to the center of her territory. Most of her victims consisted of young women and children, as they were the ones most at risk due to their routine going into the forest to collect resources for feeding livestock, collecting firewood, and crafting. All of her kills happened during the daylight. Jim Corbett, the man who hunted and killed the tigress, writes that he was not aware of a single case of a man-eating tiger killing a human during the nighttime, which you would think it would be counterintuitive. You'd think that they would attack during the nighttime. It's actually more terrifying that it happens during the broad daylight. Life across the region grew paralyzed, with men often refusing to leave their huts for work after hearing the tiger's roars from the forest. In 1907, the tiger was killed by British hunter Jim Corbett. The tiger had killed a 16-year-old girl in the village of Foongar, near the town of Champawat, and left a trail of blood which Corbett followed. After nearly getting ambushed by the tiger while investigating the remains of its victim and scaring her off with 2 shots from his rifle, Corbett had to abandon the hunt, deciding to use villagers and to organize a beat the next day on the Champa River Gorge. With the help of the Tehsildar, or the tax officer of Champawat, the beat was organized with about 300 villagers. The next day, about noon, Corbett shot the tigress dead. Corbett's first shots hit the tigress in the chest and shoulder, and his last shot, which was made with the Tehsildar's rifle to keep the tigress from charging him after he ran out of bullets, hit the cat in the foot, causing it to collapse 6 meters or 20 feet from him. A post-mortem of the tigress showed the upper and lower canine teeth on the right side of her mouth were broken, the upper one broken in half, and the lower one right down to the bone. The injury resulted from an old gunshot, according to Corbett. Probably prevented her from hunting her natural prey, and hence she started to hunt humans. Further examinations made by Corbett during this hunt for the tiger indicated that the cat was in healthy condition physically, other than her teeth, and that she was between 10 and 12 years old. After bringing down the Champawat tiger, Jim Corbett acquired a reputation as the leading hunter of man-eaters. This ability served him well at a time when deforestation and diminishing prey were driving more and more tigers and leopards to hunt humans for food. Tigers are also animals that are sometimes known for taking revenge on people. I know this sounds like an intense emotion for a wild animal, but for anyone who has had house cats, we know that a cat can certainly hold a grudge. Except with a house cat, it isn't usually life or death, unlike with a tiger. The novel called The Tiger by John Villant recounts a true story of one such incident that happened with a Siberian tiger in Russia. The tigers that populate Russia and China are commonly referred to as Siberian tigers, but they are more accurately known as the Amur tiger. To give some more perspective on the beast, Amur tigers can weigh over 500 pounds and can be more than 10 feet long nose to tail. So they're huge and terrifying. At the center of the story is Vladimir Markov, a poacher. For Markov, it was poach or starve, and his situation set the stage for a desperate act, like bagging a tiger to sell on the black market. However, Markov would meet a grisly end in the winter of 1997 after he shot and wounded an Amur tiger and then stole part of the tiger's kill. This shooting the tiger and taking its kill would be the ruin of Markov because the tiger did not forget. The tiger was out for vengeance. The Udej people, native to this part of Russia, believe that if someone attacks a tiger without a reason, Amba, the dark side of the tiger, will hunt him down. Unknowingly, Markov unleashed the Amba. The Udej people also have a saying that would apply to Markov's situation, that if you see a tiger for 1 second, he has been watching you for 1 hour. Their eyes peering from the shadows, calculating your every move until it is ready to strike. So, as Markov was making his way back to his cabin, the tiger was waiting and stalking him. The injured tiger hunted Markov down in a way that appears to be chillingly premeditated. Later investigations suggest that the tiger planned its movements with a rare mix of strategy, instinct, and perhaps more importantly, a chilling clarity of purpose: revenge. The tiger found and staked out Markov's cabin, systematically destroying anything that had Markov's scent on it, and then waited by the front door for Markov to return home. This wasn't an impulsive response, Vaillant says. The tiger was able to hold this idea over a period of time. The animal waited 12 to 48 hours before attacking. It was a cold and calculating vengeance over the kill which the tiger felt was rightfully his, and revenge for Markov wounding it. The tiger waited for him to come out of hiding and back to his home in order to strike him where he felt most secure. When Markov finally appeared, the tiger killed him, dragged him into the bush, and ate him. The eating may have been secondary, Vaillant explains. I think he killed him because he had a bone to pick. But as you shall hear, the tiger didn't just kill Markov, he annihilated him. The other central character in The Tiger is Yuri Trush, the head of the local squad of an anti-poaching unit known as Inspection Tiger, an organization which was created by the Russian government to combat the black market trafficking of tigers and tiger parts. Trush was a guy well suited to work in the tiger country, Vaillant says. Physically imposing and a skilled fighter, Trush was a larger-than-life figure and a real warrior. So he was the person whose job it was not only to protect tigers, but to deal with them when these sort of things happen, which was very unusual to say the least. For most of the time with Inspection Tiger, Trush's job involved setting up sting operations and catching poachers. But Markov's death, which was followed later by the death of a second man, meant that Trush ended up having to hunt the same animal he had worked to protect. Trush needed to anticipate what the tiger's next move would be, and then get there before the tiger did, Vaillant explains. Vaillant explains, Trush was charged with not just protecting tigers, but now with saving human lives. Here's an excerpt from the novel, the moment Trush's party finds Markov. The only sounds are the icy creak of Trush's boots and the distant barking of his dog. 7 men have been stunned to silence. Not a sob, not a curse. Trush's hunting dog, a little Laika, is further down the trail, growing increasingly shrill and agitated. Her nose is tingling with blood scent and tiger musk, and she alone feels free to express her deepest fear. The tiger is there, somewhere up ahead. Trush's men had their rifles off their shoulders, and they cover him as he films. They arrive at another melting spot, this time a large oval. Here, amid the twigs and leaf litter, is all that remains of Vladimir Ilyich Markov. It looks at first like a heap of laundry, until one sees the boots, illuminated stubs of broken bone protruding from the tops, a tattered shirt with an arm still fitted to one of the sleeves. Trush had never seen a fellow human being so thoroughly and gruesomely annihilated, and as he filmed, his mind fled to the edges of the scene, taking refuge in the peripheral details. He was struck by the poverty of this man, that he would be wearing such thin rubber boots in such bitter weather. He reflected on the cartridge belt, loaded but for 3 shells, and wondered where the gun had gone. Meanwhile, Trush's dog, Gita, is racing back and forth, hackles raised and barking in alarm. The tiger is somewhere close by, invisible to the men, but to the dog, it is palpable, almost unbearingly present. The men, too, can sense a potency around them, something larger than their own fear. As they glanced about, unsure where to look, they were so overwhelmed by the wreckage before them that it's hard to distinguish immediate danger from present horror. It just sounds so eerie in this description on how the tiger destroyed Markov for slighting him. It just shows that tigers, just like the common house cat, can hold a grudge and eventually get back at you. Except that with a tiger, it usually means your demise. Just like what was said by the Udej people, if someone attacks a tiger without a reason, Amba, the dark side of the tiger, will hunt him down. While attacks by tigers outside of Russia and South Asia are not common naturally since they aren't found in the wild outside of Asia or Russia, attacks by tigers on zookeepers and exotic pet enthusiasts are common in the West. And in all places that contain zoos that have a tiger exhibit, between 1998 and 2001, there were several fatal tiger attacks in the United States, and at least 20 more attacks that required emergency medical care. That's only 3 years, and there were several fatal attacks by tigers on zookeepers in the US alone. There are countless examples of the fatality of tigers in zoos, but the most popular one recently happened in 2014, where a viral video went around of a young man mauled by a tiger in a Delhi zoo. As you can see here, it was not the best position to be with this playful feline. In a hair-raising incident, witnessed by scores of people and captured live on many cameras, a 200-kilogram white tiger mauled and killed a youth after he fell into the animal's moat in the Delhi Zoo. The footage is now very popular and an example that tigers are very much deadly even when they don't have to stalk their prey. I really don't know if the guy went into the enclosure by accident or intentionally, but as you can see, the tiger takes notice. Honestly, the man must be something of a toy for the feline, as it didn't take long for the tiger to take down the man. Really, the man didn't stand a chance, and it was at the mercy of the beast. The incident, which took place on September 24th, 2014, between 12:30 and 1 p.m., went viral. Eyewitnesses and zoo officials said the young man, identified as Maqsood, 20, a resident of Anand Parbat in Delhi, had crossed the standoff barrier of the white tiger's enclosure and then fell or jumped into the moat which separated the enclosure from the visitors' gallery. So he must have really wanted to get into the enclosure. I mean, he jumped a couple of barriers that the zoo put in place to keep people away, like the actual barrier and even a moat. So I'm just assuming he wanted to take his own life, possibly. It was never conclusive in my research whether he intentionally jumped into the tiger enclosure or if he accidentally fell. The majestic 6-foot, 7-year-old tiger named Vijay was some distance away and saw the man in the concrete moat, which was covered with dry leaves, and bounded up to him. The footage shows the tiger face to face at the man, as the tiger initially appears to be surprised on seeing a sudden human intrusion into his habitat. Sort of like the tiger would get his revenge for not being able to attack annoying onlookers until now. As soon as the youth fell into the moat, the tiger approached him and suddenly watched him for 15 minutes. The tiger was carefully plotting his next move as he watched the helpless man. What possibly provoked the tiger to attack the man was when onlookers and a guard tried to divert its attention by pelting stones at it. A witness claims everyone was pelting stones and making noises to divert the tiger's attention. It was then that the tiger pounced on the youth with his paw and dragged him inside his enclosure by his neck. Can we blame the tiger for being a tiger? I'm sure they get bored with their small enclosure. The tiger then dropped the limp body at the far end of the enclosure. Another eyewitness, Himanshu, said, "The man was cowering in fear and appeared to be pleading with folded hands for the tiger to spare him, but the beast shows no mercy to the man as he calculatedly drags him off by his neck." Fun fact, big cats usually go for the neck when killing their prey. The neck is an effective and fast way for the tiger to subdue prey, because things like arteries, windpipes, and spinal cords are all necessary to stay alive. Injure or damage any of them, and a kill would likely be successful. A neck bite from behind also minimizes the prey's defenses. In comparison to what happened to Markov, which we can assume might have been a more gruesome death, this guy had a quick death. It was reported later by relatives of the man that he had a mental illness, and that possibly led to him jumping into the enclosure. According to zoo authorities, tranquilizing an agitated tiger would not have been practical in this situation. The body of the boy was only removed after 4 p.m., so a few hours later. They possibly had to wait for the tiger to calm down, maybe. I'm not sure why they waited so long to recover the body. Maybe if they would have took the body right away, then it would have endangered zoo officials, since the tiger would be protective of its kill, much like that situation with Markov. The zoo officials might have been trying to prevent a revenge killing later on. From what I could find, the tiger was luckily not punished for what happened. It's common in cases with zoos that a lot of the times the offending animal is put down for just behaving as they are expected to behave. To the tiger, the man was just a new toy, like a cat with a mouse. I'm just glad they didn't hurt the tiger. Whether it was an accident and the man fell, or it was on purpose and he just jumped, the tiger would not have deserved to be put down for acting like a tiger. Well, that was truly a grotesque tale. Where tigers continue to live and where humans continue to expand are becoming smaller and smaller for the tiger. Because of this, it is more likely that humans will continue this saga with the tiger. It seems like there is an instinct built within humans to have that feeling they are being watched. And perhaps it became more and more developed because of this complicated relationship humans have with tigers. always stalking in the shadows. May those tigers and people who died in this eternal conflict rest in peace. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe, like, and share if you would also like to keep exploring our grotesque curiosity. We will meet again in the darkness of the night.